Welcome mates, I'm Bloodthirsty Lord, but you can call me Lordy, and today we're back on Paragon. Once again, there's been a multitude of gameplays running in the background of this video because this is the top 5 overpowered heroes within Paragon at this very moment, or the best heroes within Paragon. This list will consist of 5 heroes, which is kind of obvious, alongside the idea why they are so strong or overpowered within this current meta, and we explain each point and how you could use them for yourselves in your own gameplay to make yourself overpowered when using that character. Because obviously knowledge and technique and execution is very useful to know before you actually apply yourself with that character in one of your Paragon games when you decide to play one of these heroes on the list. So there's going to be a lot of information talking about each hero on the list as we reach number 1 and say why he or she or it is so strong. And these heroes are from the all ranks tier list, meaning that they're very effective at increasing your win rate while also having fun on these heroes. By the way, this list is not biased because some of these heroes I don't even play and others I do play within this list. Either way, you're going to get an amazing amount of information based on each hero. But before we get to this video, make sure you smash that bloody like button. Let's try to get 250 likes on this video. Your mates' support on the last couple of videos have been insane, so let's keep that going. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. So the first hero to start this list off at number 5 is Countess. She is so useful at this very moment with a win rate of 52.3%, very useful within the mid lane and the off lane. I've seen other players playing within jungle and support, maybe not the best roles for her or the best position for her in general, but mid lane and off lane, you can never go wrong there with Countess. And whenever you pick Countess within your Paragon experience, you know you're going to burst some targets down. That is her main idea. You need to burst targets down. That could be their safe lane carry, which is obviously doing a lot of stuff in the game and you need to shut down that target. You go for that, or just a high value target in general. It could be their jungler, could be their mid laner, it could be even their support. If someone's holding them back and making them so strong, use their strength as their weakness. You kill that person, the whole team is automatically weak. And then your team can just clean them up in a 5v5, which has already become a 5v4 because you've already deleted someone or burst down a target really quickly when playing Countess. Let's do a quick overview of her abilities. Her ultimate ability is a spinning ability, does damage around her in an AoE effect, followed up by a passive amount of health being returned to her every time she gets a last hit on a minion, and that scales depending if you're killing a minion or a hero and how many points you got into that ability, with a maximum of 5% on a minion when you last hit that, or even 25% on an enemy hero when you last hit an enemy hero or killed or slain an enemy hero. That's where her durability and pretty much her sustain tool comes into action, and this is honestly very essential to her in the early game. It helps her survive in the early game meta, and then once she hits mid game stages, she's pretty much a godlike character because of her ultimate and the rest of her abilities. Her next ability, which is her primary ability, being Shadow Slip. She's able to blink towards the target and blink back on activation in a 4-second time span, which is really great for outplaying enemies, while also having a little passive on this ability. If you activate this on a minion, and that is your target, it would automatically get executed no matter what HP it's at. And this will also activate the passive of your last ability, the ultimate ability, giving you more health back, which is obviously great. This can lead to controlling or even manipulating and freezing the lane that you're in with your minions, leading them to be in the middle of the lane, closer to you, or even closer to them. It's your choice depending on how you use this ability. Her secondary ability, Dark Tide, it's pretty much an amazing amount of damage right in front of her, which does have AoE properties, and this is overall where majority of her burst damage does come out of, and this ability is essential for clearing out waves. It's a wave clear ability and it works out really well. And then we have her ultimate Feast, which does an amazing amount of damage to an individual target that you've selected, while also stunning them for a brief amount of time, leading to very good scenarios overall. You're able to burst down that target that you want to burst down, or pretty much catch out a target so your enemy team can catch up towards it and kill it as well, alongside you pretty much stunning that target initially. Combine all those things together, and that is why she's on the top 5 list at number 5. Let's move on to the next hero at number 4, and that is the Raiden of Paragon, Wukong. He's able to do so much with his kits and his abilities, and this hero has always been effective at pretty much starting fights, initiating, and just doing a whole bunch of damage while also being super aggressive. If you don't play Wukong, you've obviously used Wukong quite a bit. If you haven't, he's very strong within the offlane and in the jungle. Those are both his best roles. You could even play this character as aggressive support. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's already done that before, because I feel like his abilities are very good as a support, as well as being super aggressive, tethering your enemies, and then just landing a whole bunch of CC and giving your teammate lifesteal properties and sustain as much as possible. Wukong does a lot. His win rate at the moment is at a 52.7% win rate, which is obviously very great for the character, and his abilities are one major factor of that. He's one of the first heroes to have the tether mechanic, which is very interesting when you combine it with a long range tether mechanic. So he's able to place his sword from a distance and pretty much tether enemies so your teammates can catch up, or pretty much for him to engage with his ultimate. It's very useful and does so much, and people really underrate this ability when versing him. And that is pretty much his primary ability. He's able to do damage with it once it lands on an enemy, while also combining this with the Light of the Heavens to do more damage. Or if he wants to follow up the enemies in that location, he can use his ultimate to get to that position and do damage as well. It's obviously a really great part of his kit, and it does so much for what it is. Quang's trait of being durable does activate when he uses Light of the Heavens, providing with basic armor and ability armor for 2.5 seconds. Really great once you engage enemies and you're in that close combat or even at a distance. This can help out quite a bit. Alongside another ability which is pretty much durability, and that is Gift of the Heavens. He's able to gain an aura of lifesteal towards himself and his allies around him, which provides a lot of sustain for himself and his teammates while in a fight. And then his ultimate Fury of the Heavens provides a crapload of AoE damage, followed up by also slowing enemies for 2 seconds. And once you combine this with Judgment of the Heavens, you're able to teleport towards your sword and deal damage and the slow effect in that area. Pretty insane. Good for catching out targets and initiating fights in general. And that is why he's at number 4 within the top 5 list of overpowered heroes. Let's move on to number 3 of this list, and that is Greystone, the Noble Knight of the Angorian universe. He's at a 53.3 win percent at this current moment, very effective within the offlane and jungle. His role is pretty much to hack and slash targets until he's once killed and then reborn into the fight with his ultimate to do that once again to claim that kill. That is what usually ends up happening when you play Greystone, but he's very good at being a frontline tank while also taking that damage in any type of fight and also applying damage at the same time depending on how you build this character. And he's very good within team fights and split pushing, and he has the chance of winning 1v1s pretty darn well. Pretty much has a bit of everything, and this hero is really great for beginners when they come to Paragon. So if you're brand new to the game, try out Greystone. He could please your plates, and obviously you might enjoy him quite a bit. And now let's talk about Greystone's abilities, Assault the Gates. He's able to use this as a major mobility tool within his kit, leaping towards a target or leaping away from fights. That is what usually happens with Assault the Gates. Then he does have the ability called Make Way, which is his AoE ability doing damage all around him for 5 seconds, and this will scale depending on how many points you put into this ability and depending on your build. Really great for wave clearing and just doing constant damage towards your enemies while hacking and slashing with your base tags against them. And then he has another ability which got recently added in the last couple patches, which is called Deflect. He's able to deflect an incoming basic attack once every couple of seconds depending on how many points you go into this ability, and no matter how much damage comes out of that basic attack, it will get neglected no matter what. That's what's so good about this ability. Helps him really quite a bit in the offlane within his early game fights. And then we move on to his ultimate, which is called Reforge, and he does have the life motto, or Greystone's motto is, if you failed once, try again. And that's what he does with this ability. Once he dies, he's able to come back to life, dealing damage to enemies within 900 units and also slowing them down for a specific amount of time. And once he's reborn, he does gain a specific amount of health and mana, so he's able to live up to his life motto and pretty much destroy that enemy that once slayed him, or pretty much escape with that. Depending on the scenario, you can do whatever you want with Greystone. He's really great, and that is why he's got the top 3 position within the overpowered heroes of Paragon within this current meta. Let's move on to number 2, and that is Yin. She's able to be a hybrid character within the Paragon experience, providing melee damage and then alongside her range damage components of her kit. That's why she's so-called a hybrid marksman in my opinion, and she provides so much to the battlefield, it's unbelievable. She currently has a win rate of 53.9%. Her major role is within the safe lane, can also be played within the mid lane and off lane, depending on how you feel about it. But the best pick for her is within the safe lane carry role. She's very effective there due to the fact that she has support by her side to combo her abilities with and pretty much destroy all enemies in that lane. Usually it's off laner, but sometimes jungle ones come along and get killed as well when you're playing Yin alongside your support. Even though her abilities don't sound like they're much, they do so much within the Paragon experience. She's able to leap off targets to a certain location, providing her with a mobility tool and also being able to maneuver around enemy skill shots and damage overall, so really great ability on the character. Alongside her ability called Backlash, which is able to reflect any type of incoming damage within an amount of time. Timing is needed when you play this hero because you're able to neglect multiple amounts of damage that are coming towards you. You just have to do it at the right time, and then it will go back to the person that shot that ability out, or pretty much that base attack. Really great ability overall because it will combo with your ultimate, which is going to provide a slowing effect around you after knocking back enemies out of that. And if they try to re-enter, they will be slowed, or if they try to shoot any of their skill shots or projectiles, they will be slowed in that area as well. This will combo with your Backlash ability, so you're able to reflect all incoming damage in the Cradling Gale ultimate towards those enemies that shot those abilities or base attacks. But the one ability that does shine quite a bit on this character is the Windburn ability. Yin's able to extend her whip, increasing her range overall, while also being able to have 100% cleave for 6 seconds in her line of the whip. And that's pretty much where majority of her damage does come out of. In team fights, she will shine quite a bit. She's able to do objectives pretty well like Raptors, because there's 3 of them and she's able to cleave them with 100% cleave on this ability. It's very effective overall. Windburn is usually the one ability that you max out as quick as possible on this character, because what she can do with it, and especially within lane, she's able to wave click quite a bit with this ability. And now, let's move on to the number 1 most overpowered hero within Paragon at this current moment. And that does go to Wukong. Yes, that is a surprising factor. Wukong is at number 1. He's able to do so much, or it is able to do so much. It's unbelievable at this current moment. I'm just going to refer to the character as a he instead of an it. He does have a 54.8% win rate, so he's very effective at increasing your win rate if you want to play this character. Wukong is usually used within the off lane, but can also be used as a safe lane carry, or even a jungler, depending on how you build him with your certain build or deck that you desire to use when playing Wukong. Usually it's a little bit of crit, a little bit of damage, and attack speed works out pretty darn well within the offlane because you're able to siege towers and split push like a crazy maniac. Yes, Wukong is very great at that. Usually Wukong isn't supposed to be in fights. If you see a Wukong in a team fight, it's very interesting because majority of the time, if he's in a team fight, he's most likely got a bruiser build. If he doesn't, he's just going to be split pushing all game. That is guaranteed. Because if any team fight that does go down within your team against the enemy team, Wukong is just split pushing, so it's a 5v4 team fight. You could maybe win that fight or even lose that fight. Wukong will, no matter what, be split pushing to victory. So if you neglect Wukong for a second, you're losing a tower. That is guaranteed. Wukong is so effective at that, it's unbelievable. And that's because of his abilities and his stance switching. If you're able to stance switch, you can be very elusive or do a crap load of damage, depending on what stance you're in. So it's really great to pretty much utilize that to your advantage. Say if you're split pushing, enemies are coming towards you and pretty much trying to kill you, switch into your evasive stance and just be elusive as hell and escape out of there with your abilities providing crap load of mobility. So that's how you can get out of fights kind of easily, or pretty much neglect any type of fight when you try and split push, and then just go to the other lane and split push there. That's what Wukong does quite a bit. If you're in that lane, the enemy team has neglected you, stay in an offensive stance and do as much damage towards the enemy minions and split push the hell out of that lane and get those towers and inhibitors down so you can go get that split push towards the core. And this is kind of easy to do alongside his ultimate, which you'll be able to access in the mid-game stages once he's able to put a point into the ability, which is ultimate. Every time Wukong's able to land a basic attack towards the enemy unit, he'll create a clone of himself, which will stay in the same position and stay there for a brief amount of time or a brief amount of basic attacks, which is overall increasing Wukong's damage. The more basic attacks you land, the more clones you will have. I don't think there's a max limit on these clones, because depending on how quick you're able to hit with your base attacks, you increase your attack speed, the more clones you will have, the more damage you're going to do overall. And when it comes towards a structure, these clones cannot be targeted. So if you're by yourself and you have your clones around you, when you're split pushing, the turret will automatically target you as the next target after your minions are gone. Pretty much whenever you play Wukong, your main idea is to split push. If you can split push, you're going to be effective and you're going to win that game quite easily, especially if the enemy team are doing mistakes in their team fights, because obviously your team will conquer them and then you're just already split pushing towards their core. Obviously, very easy win with Wukong, and that is why he's at number 1 at this current moment within the all ranks top 5 best heroes or overpowered heroes within Paragon in this current meta. My god, that was a lot of information to talk about. Hopefully that helped you out, and hopefully this gives you a chance to maybe play these heroes if you haven't yet, and utilize them in a different way than you maybe thought of, and obviously use them more if you already played them to get that win rate of yours increased and just get higher on the ranks and become one of the best players in Paragon. Obviously, always try to have fun. Fun is always the best aspect of this game. That's why I try to have fun before I think about ranks, but this does help out. And if your mates play different heroes and they didn't make it to the list, don't you worry, mates. Play those heroes if you're really great at them. Play them as much as you can, because those heroes are very efficient when you play them, because you understand the character's kits, abilities, and how to apply them in certain situations in order to win that and win the game. So that's why you should keep playing them no matter what. Quick overview of our top 5 list. At number 5 we had Countess, at number 4 we had Quang, at number 3 we had Greystone, at number 2 we had Yin, and at number 1 we obviously had Wukong, which is a great surprise when he came to the list, but it did make sense why he was there. But mates, as always, in the comment section down below, tell me what hero you'll be playing next from this top 5 list, if you guys are interested on any of these heroes that were mentioned, or even tell me your top 5 best heroes that you have played within the Paragon experience down below. So leave your opinions and thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, I want to mention this, Phase is like one of the honorable mentions. Phase is very effective because of her kits and her abilities. And we know why Phase is effective. If you want to read about that or listen to about that, my top 5 video from last time in version 40 kind of explains Phase quite a bit, so I might link that in the description below if you guys want to watch that. So mates, if you did enjoy this video, show us why smash that bloody like button. Let's try to get 250 likes on this video. I appreciate any type of support towards the channel, it means a lot. And if you mates want to see more Paragon gaming content and gaming content in general, or content just by me in general on my channel, all you have to do is share with your friends and hit the subscribe button to become a mate today. And that is all for this video. Time to go, but don't you worry, we're back very soon. Hate that, boys, you guys ain't seen nothing yet. One day, mates, my Kalari will be on this top 5 list at number 1, and tears of joy from all the Kalari mains will be out there. It's gonna be insane.